Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Leo Naranjo IV, candidate for governor in the 2026 election race. Purdy. My roses are coming out. We have some plants that are kicking. Flowers growing. Roses blooming. Spring is in the air. Yes, indeedy. Everything's going good, right? Ha! I was up until about 96 hours ago. 96 hours ago, we can almost make a movie out of this, ladies and gentlemen. 96 hours and the world changed overnight. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the California election campaign. Yes. Your media establishment type, the GOP establishment type, and the grassroots candidates all got burped on this past weekend. And to make it even more upsetting, the national level got dragged into it. Oh my. How did that work out? Here's the short version. Come Saturday, this past weekend, Mr. Hilton looked like he was flagging in some of the polls, flagging in some of the rhetoric in Twitter and the online world, social media. He was flagging in momentum. Hell, the Pat Nixon forum that he had with us, where I was present, he was flagging there too. Steve Hilton showed up with an intensity level of about 5, 6, maybe 7 tops because he thought he was going to roll into a group of women and control the environment as he feels he does on most occasions. Friendly crowd, not hostile, not challenging. Well, I got this. I owned them. And his energy level showed it. Then we started to have conversations. The other candidates, they did what they did. You can see the online graphics of what happened. But I rolled in there with an intensity level of 8 to 9, and never changed, never wavered, never faltered. Steve Hilton had to change to keep up, or he was going to get left in the dirt. Now here we are this past weekend. Steve Hilton noticed something. Something was happening in the online world. There was little nuances, little changes that was going on. And credit where credit is due. Old Chad, cuff him Bianco, the little coward from Riverside County, a guy that seems to treat his prisoners worse than death row inmates. Hell, let's put all our death row inmates down there in his jails and let him keep them. He does such a good job maintaining law and order there. But I digress, and that was sarcasm instilled. Mr. Chad Bianco seemed to be gaining a little steam against old Stevie Boy. Now, neither one will drop this race for the other. I don't care how many of you individuals that think you're all that in a bag of chitlins, and you're not, feel that only one candidate can make the runoff. Ain't gonna happen, folks. You've created the monster that you now have. And I'm talking directly to the state GOP, the Republican Party in California, your central committees, your Republican assemblies. You people have created this problem. Coming into 2023, I seem to have been the only candidate that knew what the implications of the 2026 race would be. Everybody else was important. By the time 2024 rolled around, the Democrats had about 8 candidates. They already had about 4 or 5 debates under their belt. The only problem that they had was they were so arrogant, they thought they were just going to walk right in. Surprise, nobody knew who the hell you were. According to your allies, the newspaper people, the television people, you had name recognition problems. Holy shit, I've got a chance. The only thing you have on me is cash. But you had the same problem, name recognition. We had a party that finally got off their ass, and they instilled somebody into the race somewhere inside of 2025, and it was Chad Bianco, the party choice, picked by the GOP. And he got accolades. Until surprisingly, he got kicked to the curb for Mel Gibson. And then, when Mel Gibson dropped, he got kicked to the curb again for James Wood. And when James Woods dropped, he got kicked to the curb a final time for Steve Hilton. Now, Chad, being the arrogant SOB that he is, I almost said a curse word, sorry folks. Being the arrogant individual that he is, he's law enforcement. You can't tell him nothing. Because he's law enforcement. He knows. Let me give you a hint, Chad. You don't know shit outside of Riverside County. 30 years experience down there, that's all you have. It's 30 years of experience in Riverside County. Nothing more, nothing less. I'll give you expertise to Riverside County. But you're not worldly. You're not well vetted, and you damn sure aren't that experienced outside of Riverside County. So when Steve was brought on just before, there was a gap when you got kicked to the curb for Gibson and Woods, and then nobody knew in the Republican Party what to do next, and they found this guy, Steve Hilton, the washed-out Fox News commentator. Skip all the platitudes. Here we are. Now you got both men running. The party has basically dismissed anybody who is not Steve Hilton or Chad Bianco. Grassroots candidates don't matter. No matter how good they are, don't care. They ignored all of us. Surprising, because your top two candidates are kind of fearful of some of us. They don't do too well on the same stage. They don't perform that well on the same stage. And they sure as hell can't hold water with some of us on the same stage. So how do we get past people who are really better than the establishment picks? We ignore them, we block them, and we prevent them from being noticed. But you can't do it 24/7. Social media is out there. You can cut and hack and cut and paste and slice and dice all the videos you want. Somebody has the full outing of forums that grassroots candidates have attended with you too, and some of you know damn well what I'm talking about. They didn't look very good. You can claim a win all you want. Hell, I can claim a win. But that's not the reality, is it? This past Saturday, Steve Hilton was begging for attention, literally begging for attention in the social media world. Elon Musk wasn't giving it to him. He didn't have no endorsement there. And I'm sorry for you people that don't want to hear this. Charlie Kirk is a dead individual. Passed, moved on, gone, no longer amongst the living. Did he at one time endorse Steve Hilton? He probably did. No argument for me on that point. The point of contention is, does the dead man's promise still hold water? Oh, yes, Leo, Charlie Kirk endorsed Steve Hilton, therefore I believe Charlie Kirk, and therefore I believe Steve Hilton. Did Charlie Kirk ever endorse abortion? It's not a rhetorical question. That's a straight up to you Turning Point USA people. Did Charlie Kirk ever endorse abortion? With conditions. And I think the answer was no. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Did Charlie Kirk ever support reparations? In California, no less. I don't believe he did. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Make sure you have a video of that correction. Did Charlie Kirk support illegal aliens receiving free medical benefits from citizens of the United States of America, i.e. the state of California? Steve Hilton's just recently gone on an interview with Ashley Zavala, making that same pledge and that same statement. We're going to get them off Medi-Cal, the state-run program. 1 million people we're going to take off Medi-Cal, and we're going to put in to Medicaid the state/federal program. The only problem is the feds refuse to pay their portion of it, so guess what we're going to be ending up doing again? Paying illegals to have free health care. Don't believe this crap about, well, it's a way to track them so we know where they are so that we can round them up eventually. And according to some of Hilton's supporters, we're going to get them down the road. But 1 million people seem to have been on the dole on Medi-Cal for years. You could have rounded them up then. Smoke and mirrors, folks. Platitudes, bullshit. So the man was begging on Saturday. According to his own accounts now, from reports coming out, he made a phone call to the president. Well, that's awful freaking nice to be able to do. Beg your way to the president. Who else has that direct line contact number? I sure as hell don't. Any other candidate have that? I'd like to see you use it. Like to see you pull the same stunt. I don't think Steve Hilton called the president. I think he called surrogates of Fox to speak on his behalf to the president. And somebody made a statement, i.e., President Trump gave Hilton what he was begging for, my endorsement. Okay. Looked kind of offhandish. There's a little noise, but it's only like 5% that might think this is a disingenuous announcement. I would think it would be earth-shattering enough that you would hear commentaries about it on the news other than the people giving the commentary. Like, how about one of you hotshot reporters ask him directly in a TV interview, did you fully endorse Steve Hilton? And are you aware of Steve Hilton's background? Would you still endorse him knowing that? But right now, it's just Steve Hilton's been endorsed by President Trump. Woohoo! And that man, almost like a pig in crap, got happy that day and went ballistic the next day. Look at me, what I got. Look what I got. Oh, I got the president to endorse me. I'm the man. Back again in the leader's seat, trying to be the governor of California. Because I've got a plan. And it's a golden shower that you're going to get, but it's my plan. One of the questions that was asked of me by some folks out there in the real world, some of the central committees in the real world in California, Leo, who of noteworthiness fame has endorsed you? Got a few endorsements. Got a former radio host show endorsement. Matter of fact, he came right out the gate after a 2.5-hour squeeze me through hell interview that he provided. I offered my home, he accepted, and took me through the paces in my own house. And at the end of it, I got his endorsement. This is the same man that crucified me on the radio that 2.5 years later was telling me he was getting my fan mail at his radio station. Is it an old person from the time current? Yeah, of course it is. About 20 years old. 20 years difference from fame then to fame today. But you asked and I answered. Well, that's not good enough. Who recently has done this for you? Probably would have gotten the Sacramento Sheriff Deputies Association, but they balked because I'm a Republican and they're pro-union and pro-Democrat. Well, Steve Hilton has the president. Yeah, he does. So did Pam Bondi, and look where she's at today. So did Kristi Noem, and where is she at today? So are a few other people that he famously threw his weight behind, and where are they today? God put you on the throne, and he can easily snatch it from you. You're humbled to have the president's endorsement? Sir, I could understand you being humbled if he granted it to you. But when you go begging, there's nothing to be humbled about. Your ass groveled because you were desperate, and it showed. Play the I don't know what you're talking about game all you want. That's what the Army trained me to look for in my first year of service. So old Chad Bianco is now out there. Well, this is no big deal for me. Endorsements don't win election. Don't let an endorsee tell you who to vote for. Don't let the establishment tell you who to pick. Oh, that's kind of freaking crazy coming from the very man that the establishment has been hiding and protecting and saucing up this whole freaking time frame. The pot calling the kettle black, old Chad. The establishment has been guiding you away from certain things. And you yourself have been avoiding certain things. The establishment has already told the people of California who they can select on the Republican side. You were Hilton, and that's it. Only 2 people are running as Republicans on the Republican ticket for governor of California, and that's a damn lie. There are 12 people, and I'm one of them, and you 2 are included in the 12. Now, during the run-up, we had something like 25. I get it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to weed through all the weeds. But after the deadline, the serious people are involved. The wannabes, if you want to call it straight with no BS, dropped out. You have people that are committed that have put their foot forward to make changes to help this state, and I'm one of them. But suddenly, endorsements are not the thing. Congressional young lady running for office doesn't think that an endorsement is a big deal. She's now online asking questions. Will an endorsement really change your mind? This is the same woman, I'll defer her name for right now, but this is the same woman who, if you didn't get an endorsement, who are you? Why are you even in front of me asking for anything? Please, you're lucky to be alive. That type of holier-than-thou attitude, the condescending, we know more than you do type disposition that has been proven wrong time and time again. I'm running for the citizens of this state. You're running for Congress after you acquiesced to what the party wanted, thinking that Kevin Kiley was going to come in as a Republican, and he screwed you and switched over to an independent, no-party preference person, and now you're running into 3rd District, figure out from there who I'm talking about. You didn't stand up for your constituency, you stood aside for your party loyalty. Your choice. That's for you to make. It's your third time up already, and this is your 4th time at bat. This is going to be an interesting thing. Suddenly, endorsements don't matter. Ooh. Now, you have the people online, y'all call them influencers. I just call them noisemakers with big followings because they try to be impressive. Oh, look, there's a news article. I posted it first. Dude, you're just taking what you heard on the news and running up an article so people can read the same crap they can watch on the 6 o'clock news, or 3 o'clock, or midnight, or whenever they go to bed, or before they go to bed. But you're an influencer, as they call you. I think that you're a noisemaker because some of you are shrill as can be. You don't care about truth, reality, facts, fiction, lies, whatever. Your happy ass is looking for the clicks so you can get paid. I know it, you know it, I'm pretty sure a lot of other people know it too. So now we have the lines of delineation. The Hilton group, the Bianco group. We got endorsed. I don't care about endorsements. Stay with me, I'm the sheriff. There's some whispers online right now in the social media world that are saying and calling for the state level GOP not to endorse anybody. Interesting. But egos are at play. Money has already been spent. Promises have already been made. Miss Roxanne Hogue is already trying to put her little purty self into the mix, thinking that she's smarter than the average bear. Let me tell you something, ma'am. You're not. Proven time and again. Do what you do. Try and look cute. Get on TV. But maybe you need to find a new game to play in, because you're not that bright at the one that you think that you're winning on. My wife, God bless her little heart, she's my biggest adversary sometimes, because she keeps me straight. She tells me factual what she thinks, especially when it comes to politics. Trump endorsed Hilton just when the Democrats were about to convolute themselves and can't figure out A from Z, Adam's apple to Bernie's bots, or Krispy Kremes, or critters and fritters and anything else. Here comes Donald endorsing Steve Hilton, who's already said he's 1,000% behind Trump anyway. I remind you of the No Kings rally we just saw up and down this state not more than a couple of weeks ago. How many people turned out to protest Donald Trump? Need I remind you how many people came out to vote yes on Prop 50 against Donald Trump? How many people don't like ICE because Trump supports them and they turned out against Donald Trump? So, Mr. Hilton, I'd love for you to enjoy your moment right now. You are losing your damn mind on social media because you think you got this in the bag. But let's remember, sir, you claim to know California. You've lived here a few years. If you know California that damn well, you should already know Donald Trump just effed you and you're too dumb to understand it. The Democratic Party in this state might have been a bunch of embers that were dying out to a degree, and Donald just threw a bunch of gas on them and lit them all up. Katie Porter, the first one out the gate. Right now, Goofy could be elected as the Democratic nominee for governor and win in this state simply because people hate Donald Trump. And in California, that sentiment runs deep. I don't care what you think that you know about this state, but I know this: they don't like Donald Trump. And if you've been reading or listening to the news and the prices that are going up because of fuel costs, that gets reinforced every freaking day. Postal Service up 8 to 10%. FedEx, UPS up 5 to 8%. Airline prices up $10 per carry-on bag. Trucking industries going up 10 to 15%. Offsetting diesel fuel prices, which, by the way, are still going upwards. Prices of fuel go up in transportation. What do you think happens at the counter where you buy your stuff at? Prices go up there, too. You have a conflict going on in Iran. I'd almost put money on it. Those people right there, no matter how hard they're getting hammered, they know an election is coming up in the next couple of months. For governorship and for Congress. The thing that they have to do is hold out. And you think that you're going to roll over into Congress? Okay. But what you're not going to do is roll over California to your line of thinking. Donald Trump gave you an endorsement. Donald Trump also professes to be pro-life. You, Mr. Hilton, are pro-abortion. The statement that people are now tagging you on, you feel that you are in a minority, but you are part of 57% of people who want abortions with exceptions. That's not pro-life, sir. That's pro-abortion. Does Donald know that's your stance, or did you hide it from him? You want to give reparations here in California to quote-unquote minority communities. How are you going to do that? Land grabs, property grabs, monetary payments? How are you going to afford all of that? How are you going to even pull that one off? But you're saying it and you have stated it. Did Donald know of that? On the Pat Nixon stage in Yorba Linda, I took you to task over the pension program. My plan to fix it was very clear and concise. This is what I'm going to do. You came right behind me and said, even though it's illegal to do, we have to consider amending the Constitution so that California can legally declare itself bankrupt so we can get a grip on the pension problem. Tie that in with the other rhetoric about the AG you keep pumping up with your golden showers ticket. That means you want Gates to be, i.e., Rob Bonta. You bark, he signs, and everybody's good. Is Donald Trump aware of that? Gloria Romero's trying to put a little post out there to gather some enthusiasm. Woohoo, Donald Trump endorsed Steve Hilton. Yay, I would have loved to have gotten one too. Yeah, lady, you didn't. Suck it up. That's not how it works here, and you already know that. Why would Donald Trump support you? But does he really know about Hilton's background? You help Islamic causes through your wife? You champion people in the Clinton campaign to go against Donald Trump? You champion BLM rioters to go against Donald Trump at one time? You're pro-abortion, but you tell people that you're pro-life? That's horseshit. You want to lower and you want to make government smaller in California, but you've already proposed 5 new agencies in the state, and you haven't even gotten in the damn chair yet? Oh, and the next one, the best one I've heard to date, is you got a lady on your so-called picket committee, your team that you're formulating around yourself, coalescing, because you're going to walk in with a team to get the job done. That young lady happens to be the cousin of the governor of Virginia. She's a Democrat. Going hard left now. Did Donald Trump know of that? Hell, did you? No, I'm pretty sure you did know of that. That's a rhetorical question. Not even gonna bother to ask it. And while we're on the subject of teams, sir, because in the debate you made it a big point to declare about teams, how you're gonna build a team to do X, Y, and Z, and that's how you're gonna get shit done. Pardon me. For those of us out there that play sports, you know damn well when you're chosen as a quarterback, you don't get to pick your offense. Your offense is given to you and you work with what you have. And you have zero control over the defense, but they're on your team. You encourage them, you pray, you give them some opinions, some suggestions, but they are the defense. You're the quarterback of the offense. And the coach suffers through it all. Good, bad, and indifferent. You think creating a team is doing something? No. Well, Leo, if you got elected governor, what would you do with the people that are there? I'd put their asses to work, and if they can't cut the mustard, they'll get fired and replaced. That's how I build my team. I was a sergeant in the United States Army. Whenever I walked into a department or whenever I walked into a division or an office or anything where I was now placed in charge, I didn't get to pick my team. I was told who worked in it, in the group that I was now in charge of, and the expectation from me was to get results. And stuff rolls downhill. My expectation is performance, success, and results, which means the people who worked for me better be able to deliver success and results or they'd be replaced. Flipping to Chad Bianco for a second, he stood up to Newsom during COVID. Dude, that was almost, 5-6 years ago? Grow up, move past it. But you do bring it up, so I'm going to challenge it also. You stood up to Newsom. You might have stood up to Newsom in COVID, but that's the only thing you've done, and I don't even think you really stood up to him either. Because you bent a knee to the mob. You bent a knee to the illegals. You bent a knee to the trans population in order to get their trans liaison in your department, and you bent the knee to Rob Bonta when you started getting sued over that power grab dealing with ballots. You took the ballots, but you left the voting machines that counted them alone. That was let me hold my breath on that one. As a young NCO in the military, I had a young lady, civilian, wife of an individual, worked her ass off for me. From time to time, she'd have little explosive moments, say all kinds of foul stuff, make my assistant blush. When everybody was gone, my assistant would look at me, "Oh, Sergeant Ronho, Vicky really, she just went off. She was totally disrespectful." I said, "Yeah, she went off. She went off in private. Because Vicky knows damn well if she did that in public, I wouldn't be sitting there looking at her like she lost her mind." She vented. And when the bosses came up to me after a year, they said, "Sergeant Naranjo, we're getting ready to fire Miss Vicky." Why would you do that? She's been in your accounting office helping the backlog there for the last year. She's been busting her butt and doing the job that I expect her to do in my section. She's been an outstanding employee. What's the reason for the termination? She lied on her application. Wow, really? What did she lie about? Oh, she said she wasn't fired from the PX. When did this happen? A year ago. Are you serious? So why are you telling me? You're 3 ranks above me. Why am I getting told this? And my command told me. You're her section chief. You're a division chief. And we want your input as to what's going to happen with this employee. Okay. My personal opinion is, I think you guys are playing dirty shit. You're trying to fire an employee after she broke her back to help you out of your mess in the quality assurance section and the accounting section. She helped fix your backlog that you've been reported on for being remiss of doing yourselves. Now you want to can her? No, I wouldn't can her. Matter of fact, I'd give her a damn recommendation for doing a very successful job. And I'd do the write-up for her myself. But canning her? No, I'm not going to support no crap like that. No way in hell. That's my professional opinion. Or excuse me, that was my personal opinion. My professional opinion is, Sarge, with all due respect, you're going to do whatever it is you're going to do, regardless of what I say. But if you want my professional input, the answer is no. I'm going to write her up for a commendation for the job she's done. Lo and behold, while I was in Berlin, that young lady stayed with us until I departed for my next duty station. She was not fired unceremoniously, and I did give her a letter of commendation for everything she did. That, Chad, is called standing up against the establishment. Something I don't think you really have a concept of. But I'm not sure if you've ever been in the military to know what that means. So there's that expertise thing again, and experience. Something you don't have that I do. It's going to be an interesting day. It's going to be an interesting time. And there's going to be some interesting problems because of this endorsement. But old Steve, you better figure it out. Smell the tea leaves. You are not in the best position right now that you think you are in. The Democrats are getting ready to teach you a valuable lesson. And for the Republicans, well, you can go ahead and tell Donald Trump to go F himself and stick with Chad. That's going to cost you too. Because I don't think there's a lot of people that appreciate his ass kneeling to everybody under the sun as he's done, nor the fact that he can't hold on to $1, a dime, or a donut without having an excessive cost to get it back. $300 million to $1.2 billion, Sheriff, that's your budget. You start carving out those numbers, I can tell you where your budget's blowing up, and you know as well as I do. It's in all those promissory double-digit raises you've been giving your deputies and yourself, and the equipment you purchase, and everything else that you've done, hidden away in your little corner of Riverside County. How much money have you lost because of lawsuits? Oh, those figures are available too. And I'm sure if somebody really wants to know, they'll figure out how much you're costing California for legal fees in Riverside, California. And put it statewide. Last but not least on the subject, because you broached it, how you're going to do away with taxes in California, whether it's property or income, and you're just going to roll over the oil wells and whoo! We're going to get money like Alaska. Dude, you need to grow up and get a clue. Oil may flow again in this state, but not at the speed that you think it is. And when you remove taxes like you promise people that you're going to try to do, when we all know that's a damn lie, you've not said a thing about cuts to the budget or the spending, only the reduction of the revenue. And by removing taxes, that lets the creative people in the legislature, who are like frothing vampires that haven't seen fresh meat in a year, figure out ways to fee and surcharge us to death where we as Californian citizens cannot vote to defend against that nonsense. We have to rely on the non-existent legislature that represents the Republican Party to intervene, and there's nobody there that can in great enough numbers. So your oil spiel, hyperbole. And some of the areas that you want to reopen up oil suffered catastrophic problems with oil, and they're very keen into never seeing an oil well spring up again in their area. Santa Barbara. Problems in Kern County. Issues up here in Benicia. I want to open them back up too, but we have to do it in a way that's equal for both sides to come to the conclusion that yes, we can, if and but certain guarantees, promises, assurances are in place. You want to open them up pell-mell, and damn the consequences. Good luck with that, Slick Rick. That ain't going to happen either. This is Tuesday. The vote is on Sunday. And the journey towards the South begins on Thursday, 2 days from now. I will be down there amongst the people who can't stand my guts for what I'm doing online, what I've done in the videos, what I've done on X, and what I've done when I talk to people in the groups that I have spoken with. But I can assure you folks of this. Many an individual have told me to drop out over 2 years ago, and I told him to get effed. One, fairly wealthy, tried to do it twice, and I told him if you go down that path a third time, it's going to be very ugly for both you and I, and he's never approached me that way again. Thank you, sir, for that. Some of the surrogates have approached me, accusing me of being a vote splitter, spoiler, anything else that they want to derogatorily say. Hey, where's your boy Chad right now? I think he's in the same boat, right? One of you needs to quit, Steve or Chad, for the other to move forward. One young lady tried to connive her way into telling me she had tons of supporters willing to write big checks for my name if I had a plan B, and what was it? And I finally told her, my plan B is just like my plan C, which is going on plan A, win the race. Oh, it's not good enough. Well, shit happens. You do or you don't. Write the checks or don't. It's your call anyway. Now that young lady is running as a non-party preference candidate, Miss Colati, Elaine Colati, who tried to encourage me to drop under the pretense if I didn't drop, we would split the vote and cause chaos in the Republican Party. So you try to convince me to quit as a Republican in 2024 because you were worried about splitting the vote and not getting behind one person, and yet here you are running as a no-party preference doing exactly that. There are so many things I could say right now. That didn't happen either. God has put me in this position to be where I am today, doing what I do. Some of you folks out there were very adamant. Leo, you're never going to be invited to these locations, but yet there I was. Leo, you're never going to get the opportunity to speak, much less open your mouth at certain functions, but yet there I was. Leo, you're not going to have the opportunity to get anybody to vote for you. We're going to ensure nobody throws a ballot in your direction, but yet I've got 10. And half of them from the very delicate leader who told me I'd never have anybody from his group voting for me. Leo, you just need to quit. You have no chance of winning. Neither does your guy. And let me use Chad once again as the example from the coward down there in Riverside County that likes to boast about his overwhelming voter majority. Yes, sir, you did win your 2022 election. You won. I don't care if it was just you and you were the only guy to cast a ballot. You won. Doesn't matter how you win. It's the fact that you won. Whether it's by 1 million votes or 1 vote, I'll concede you won. You won with less than 200,000 people voting between you and your opponent. 2 guys. And you couldn't even pull over 175,000 ballots in a county that has 1.3 million registered voters. Well, at least I won. You did. No argument there. And in a way, so have I. For the folks who want to have someone stand up and fight for them because they're unable to against a machine intent on their destruction. I've got a bunch of people who were running that told me I wasn't going to go anywhere, and one of those folios thought, and it was in his commentary, his whole mission was to ensure that I never did anything positive. He's now running for treasurer, which means he quit the governor's race. Did I beat him? Yes, I did. Did I beat Eleni Kolonikis? Yes, I did. Have I beat a few other people who look like they were on a fast track going forward? Yes, I have, because my name's on the ballot. Theirs isn't. Now, Leo, you have no chance whatsoever of winning the primary. You know what? God works in mysterious ways. You hold on to that fact. But I will tell you this, if your guy loses with me, I don't care if he had 80% of the ballot. A loss is a loss is a loss. I've accomplished more in the face of adversity with little to nothing, far beyond certain people's expectations. And I've not changed my rhetoric or what I believe and what I'm running on. First and foremost for the citizens of this state, not the citizens of other nations who have come here illegally. Chad Bianco wants amnesty. Steve Hilton seems to be easing towards amnesty. Go back and look at those videos from the forums that we've all participated in, and you're not going to see a whole hell of a lot of difference in my messaging from point A to point B. Consistent and resolute. Unlike Hilton, who changes from topic to topic, because if I speak crazy in Los Angeles, nobody will know what I'm saying in Oakland because nobody marries up the information. How do you know, Mr. Jack Hibbs, pastor that you are, that Steve Hilton is an abortionist, pro-abortion guy, but yet you as a pastor have endorsed him? One of 2 things is happening, sir. You as a pastor are actually quietly for abortion, but you won't tell nobody, or you don't give a damn what Hilton is for because you got paid to give an endorsement to him. But as a pastor, abortion as being an acceptable alternative for you should have been abhorrent. And it wasn't because you endorsed the man. God bless you. Your choice. You want real talk? Oh, I can go real. Most of you will not like the realness. Some of you are getting ready to get it anyway because the political hacks, think that they know it all. Their gonads are up and they're all motivated because of what Trump did. Was this a move to screw Hilton and propel Bianco? We won't know. We're going to find out here in a few days. But if they don't give an endorsement at the GOP convention, which they shouldn't prudently, that would be the smart move, then somebody needs to go. Chad or Steve? We're so proud and so desperate in the Republican Party right now, we'll sell our souls just to get somebody in that race. But I've said this back in 2023. You have a chance with this election to make a huge difference and make a fantastic change for the benefit of California. And what did my party do instead? Blew me off as nuts. No way it will ever happen. And it's too early and it's too soon and we don't care. But yet here we are today. And the very things I railed about, they're now desperately trying to cling to. But they're not clinging to for a win. They're clinging to say they did their best and then scurry back to third position to raise funds to try it again in 4 years. If any of you out there has heard this comment or this nonsense coming out of somebody's mouth that is a Republican delegate, Central Committee member, or anybody else who thinks they know what they're doing, quote, "It was always a pipe dream for you to believe the two Republicans were going to make the primaries. The Democrats were never going to allow that to happen," unquote. Let me stop you right there, folks. Go back on this tape and hear me again on what I just said. Because that's what people feel. The Democrats were never going to allow two Republicans on the ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, why are we even bothering with an election if they have that much control? The Democrats were never going to allow? The fact that you have Republicans that are even expounding that tells you exactly what I've been saying for the last 3 years. Mediocre people who have been so used and conditioned to getting their asses kicked and losing on a consistent basis that even the governor and his staff brag that the Republican Party is nothing more than an organization that knows how to lose, often professionally. The Democrats would never allow. If you get a Republican elected, they'll immediately seize on the opportunity to recall him or her. Wow. You folks are so fearful. That's why we lose. You have no faith in Lord Jesus Christ, God Almighty. That's why we lose. You have no faith in yourselves. That's why we lose. And as far as what I'm saying, what we're getting ready to have happen here in California for our side, if you're smart enough, you should already be seeing what I'm telling you. We are where we are, and we're at where we're at. The dice is going to be rolled this weekend. A lot of things are happening. One more point that I'd like to make before I leave you guys tonight. Carl DeMaio. Hey, you thought I forgot about you. Yeah, the hot shot of the Republican Party, so they say, in the legislature. So they claim Mr. DeMaio is doing all kinds of wonderful things. He's a real staunch, worthy guy. He's gay. Doesn't matter. Lifestyle is different than normal people. Is he heterosexual? No, I don't think so. I'm hearing too many rumors that he's everything but heterosexual. But that doesn't matter for me. Who gives a rat's, right? But Carl DeMaio, last few days, posted something up where he pulled a poll that was guaranteed to be the poll of polls of polls. The correct poll. I'm Carl DeMaio, and this is truthful and honest. And he put that poll up, highlighting some numbers. Now, what I found funny about it is, because he said this was the honest-to-God's truth of a poll, here's why I knew he was full of shit, too. Sharifa Hardy hasn't been seen or heard from in over a year and a half. But she was on that poll right below Leo Zaki. Kyle Langford, was on that poll. 1 or 2%, he's polling under Leo Zaki. Daniel Mercury on the same poll as a Republican candidate under Leo Zaki. Why am I saying Carl DeMaio is full of shit with that poll? Because Daniel Mercury's already caved and went no party preference. He's not in the Republican candidate realm anymore. Oh, he's on the ballot, but as an MPP, and we all know what happens to them. Sharifa Hardy, can't reach her. She's not around. Haven't seen her do anything. Is she on the ballot? Not sure. Maybe. Not seriously taken, though. And Kyle Langford? Come on, Mr. DeMaio. You honestly believe Kyle Langford is polling anywhere on me? Well, Leo, you're just being braggadocious, egotistical, and maybe somebody is better than you. It seems like you're getting your feelings hurt when you're saying this. No, ladies and gentlemen, Carl Langford, let me just be blunt. Carl Langford fucked himself when he put up Homeless Solution is the photograph of the front of Auschwitz, the death camp in Poland. He put that picture of Auschwitz up there as his solution for Poland. The Jewish community went off in Israel and wrote back. The Auschwitz Museum went off on him and they wrote back. And I responded to both of those organizations. Mr. Langford does not represent diddly shit as far as me or anybody else in the Republican Party, our values, or our stances when it comes to that subject matter. That man is on his own. And then I went after Carl Langford. Oh, but he was a Republican candidate. No, he was a moron for doing that. And I took his ass to task, and shortly after that, you didn't hear anything else about Carl Langford. I think his political career for life has been destroyed by that stunt. So Carl DeMaio, let me say this about your so-called poll. Your poll's full of shit, and it's a lie. But most telling about that video that you put that poll up under was your disposition. Because you look like Steve Hilton did, defeated. Your aspirations were getting crushed. And it showed. Again, it's what the Army trained me to do. You didn't look like you had much confidence, old Carl. You didn't look assured of yourself. You looked kind of beaten, but not to the point of calling it a day. Now, with this endorsement, and you being such close friends with Steve Hilton, and Steve Hilton bragging about how close of friends he is with you, you should have been first and foremost out front and center bragging about your buddy's endorsement from Donald Trump. Steve Hilton's damn near peeing on himself, doing it all over the Twitter feeds. On the X platform. I imagine on the other social media platforms too. Here's the funny trick about this though, Carl, because you know, and I know what you know. And the reason why you're not blowing this up for your friend is a couple of reasons. One, you don't want the public to know that you're pulling Hilton strings, which would cause him some problems. Two, you really secretly are cheering Steve Hilton. But professionally and quietly behind closed doors, you're cussing your ass out because you just got fucked. Pardon my French. This is going to bring the demos out in droves, and as I stated earlier, Goofy could be on the ballot, and they're going to say, never Trump. You endorse that man, this is a no vote against Trump. Goofy is our man. You don't have to believe me now. I don't care if you do believe me or not. It's what I feel. It's what I know. The lesson will be taught in November. I'll either be proven right or I'll be proven wrong. If I'm proven wrong, then you can laugh, call me an idiot, whatever. But if I'm right, all you'll do is slinker back into some new thing that you'll argue about that's priority the Californians need to worry about. And we'll have to adjust with the stupidity that has been caused in our state to put us in the boat that we're in today. Only we're going to have one of two governors sitting in the governor's seat. A Democrat that's going to raise taxes to pay for everything Donald Trump is cutting, or a Republican that the Democrats are going to own and blame the Republicans for. And that's going to cost us a decade of elections. But it's not up to me. You're the voters. It's up to you which path we're going to take. My name is Leo Naranjo IV. I'm a Republican candidate for governor in 2026. Please check out my website, leonaranjo4gov.com. Check it out. Vet it, ask questions, get answers. Support, follow, and donate, please, to give me that chance to fight back against the very people who are trying to ruin our state from both sides of the coin. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a great evening. Bye-bye till later.